Hey everybody, so today I'm going to be doing an update on the main series. I'm going to do a little bit of pruning on some of these plants. Some of these plants I will also be fertilizing with some CalMag because they're starting to go into flower, like this cayenne right here. It's got a nice little canopy. I want to make sure it's not blocking other plants and stuff because I am doing doing all this in a tight space. But if you look closely, we've got little flower buds all over the place. This is a ghost pepper. It's got flower buds. So we're gonna go ahead and use some CalMag today. I'm also going to prune this one. This is my favorite pepper plant right now. Hence the bigger pots. We're gonna prune on this side because they are getting their side shoots finally. They take longer if you don't actually prune these ones, but I want them to have good energy to make these sprouts, and then, or the side shoots I mean, and then I like to prune it off. So this is just, I was messing around with some seedlings and I'd let some die for a germination test, kind of like this. So these are just some habaneros and they're Dollar General seeds, and I wanted to make sure they were about a year old, and I wanted to make sure that they germinated. So anyways, today we are going to be doing a little bit of pruning. We're going to be watering and fertilizing. I actually started with a couple before I realized I actually want to make it part of the series. So anyways, I'm going to start with this one here. So when I do realize that there are pests in here. I don't know how they got in, but I actually found a cucumber beetle in here, and I think it's been taking holes out of my leaves here. But everything seems to be doing fine, and I spray occasionally with some neem oil, and we'll see how it goes. So I've been kind of pulling these branches down because I wanted it to do some low stress training to get these branches to come out and then kind of up, and then around this radius of the pot I will not let it come out of it, so then it'll get taller, and then if it gets to a certain point I'll top it and it'll stay bushy. So like this leaf here, it's kind of over the top of this branch. I'm going to take that off. And then the same thing with this right here. It's kind of blocking that branch. I'm going to take it off. And this helps with airflow. It prevents issues with... So if you look underneath here, this is what happens when there's too much moisture. I used to think that this was spider mites. And I kept spraying my stuff with neem oil because I know that gets rid of it. And nothing was ever changing. In fact, it got worse when I did that because I was adding more moisture. So too much moisture does that to your leaves on some plants. Some plants don't care, like this is a jalapeno. It does not care. This is why it's important that you water thoroughly when you water. I don't need to take that one off. If anything, I'll take this one off because it's being blocked, and then it'll produce the rest of the side shoots. This thing also has some flower buds, but I think this is a jalapeno. I mixed one of these up over here on accident, so that's why I think that this is a jalapeno. Plus the leaves don't look as pointy as the cayennes, so I'm really sure that this is a jalapeno. Oh, sorry, I didn't have the camera on it. I'm sure that this one is a jalapeno. And then these are the Aleppo. I haven't really updated anybody on those, but that's a special pepper for me because I found the seeds online on a website called Tradewinds Fruit, and I just thought it was cool. I liked the story behind it, and it seemed pretty uncommon. Anyhow, we're going to continue with the pruning here. So this is kind of blocking a branch here. Take that one off. I don't know why that one was so elongated. And these are going to be blocking this branch way down here. It hasn't had much growth because of this, so I'm going to be taking anything off of this side. Because I topped this original plant so that here, if you can look carefully, that's the original stem, and I topped it, and it's trying to do a bunch of shoots here. I want some shoots here. I want it to get somewhat tall, but I don't want it to be too tall, and I don't want any branches to be covered. So we're pretty much going to prune everything off the side. because I am a big fan of how this canopy, or whatever you want to call this, is looking. This leaf looks kind of damaged, and I'm just going to take it off. And then this leaf that's kind of blocking and in the way, I'm going to take that off as well. Any kind of useless leaves, when you're trying to promote some more growth, you want to take them off. Because it'll go, oh hey, I'm being eaten, I better grow somewhere else. So like a lot of these, they're kind of growing a little bit crooked. Like they're coming out and doing that. It's partially because there was a leaf there. They're going more towards the light. See how this is starting to face upwards? That's what I really want. And actually, if you look carefully in there, there is a little flower bud. So I will be topping this. I'm just going to take this whole, I don't know if you can see this. Let's get up close. I'm going to take this whole top piece off. Just like that. And we're going to leave a couple leaves on this branch. We want it to promote the side shoots. This is where, see how it's kind of on this outside radius now? I want it to start growing up, so this is okay. I'm going to take off a few leaves. This one's pretty much useless because it's underneath another plant. And it looks all barren now, and it looks like I'm tearing apart the plant. But I'm going on vacation for a week, and I'm going to have the lights on a timer, and you'll see when I come back. I'll do an update. Just gonna do that. So it looks pretty barren like that, but that's okay. It'll come back. This is the one that I want to grow beautifully. And now that there's space for this branch right here, it will actually grow. Unless, of course, it also has a flower bud, which it doesn't look like it does. If I come back and it does, I'll probably just pluck the whole branch off because I've got plenty of other branches. So I'm going to pluck off a bunch, honestly. Let's look at this one. So this has got some damaged leaves, and I don't like that. You can see it looks terribly wrong. They almost look like little bugs, but they don't, because they don't move, and it's the leaf that's just bulging. So oops, I'm sorry, it's all blurry. So we're going to take all that damaged stuff off. I'm going to kind of pull this down to the ground, or to the soil, because I want it to come out to about right here, and then start growing up, like I said. Because then every one of these little nodules, or nodes, you can see in there, there's like a little bud ready to grow. So this is going to promote a whole bunch of growth because I'm stripping it down so much. There's another useless leaf over here. So I'm going to go ahead and check for any flower buds, and if there are any, I will be taking the top off. I think we're okay with this one. I'm going to take a few more things off. So one thing that's really important when you're doing a lot of pruning is making sure you fertilize, or at least have proper nutrients. Like I just added worm castings to this, and in the last video I called them earthworm castings. I was actually wrong. I looked on the bag. It's just worm castings. The reason being is because they use red wigglers and other weird bugs like that. So there we go. It looks a lot more barren than it was before, but it's going to come back tenfold, especially because I will be fertilizing. I'm not really going to cover the fertilizing. I'm just using the recommended dosage from Miracle-Gro for 1 gallon of water, and I'm watering with that. So there's really not much to it. So with a plant like this, for pruning, see how there's the little side shoots? Well, now we're going to make those the only option. It's no longer going to send energy to anything else. And this looks awful, guys, but you know, they come back and then they produce so much more. I'm going to leave like 2 leaves on this. I guess 1 leaf and then a little baby leaf. But it's going to come back like crazy. And I'm going to compare it to this because these are just jalapenos, and I don't really care how they turn out. I was going to get a batch of jalapenos and then just throw those out in the compost pile. So I'm going to compare this to this one. This one over here, I am going to prune because those side shoots are going crazy. Easy peasy. And guys, I'm not ripping these off. You do not want to rip these leaves off. What I'm doing, and I'll show you, is I don't even have much of a thumbnail at all. I'm just taking and I'm pressing, and then I'm kind of barely pulling, and it does that. So I'm pressing with the nail. This doesn't work when it's a really big woody stem. So that's something to keep in mind. Eventually you're going to need actual clippers. If you're doing an older plant. So I realize some people don't like to top their peppers and prune them this much. And it's not always the best idea to do this if you don't have enough time. I'm sorry if the camera is wobbly. I'm kind of leaning all the way into the tent. Ooh, so you can kind of see, I'll show you. You can kind of see the dirt move on this one when I'm trying to prune, so that's one you really want to get clippers on. So like just some scissors or whatever you have will work. So you see how this made a Y right here, and then they're making their own Y, and then that means like there's flower buds and stuff, so it's pretty much gone into full flower production. And you know, I wanted my batch of jalapenos, but I want to prune and I want to see how they look. So this is gonna be really awful, and this one's gonna take a long time to actually recover. I am gonna leave the 1 leaf on it. So I'm showing you just how much you can actually prune these guys and how much they'll come back. So next thing you know, in a week when I update, it'll look something like this. I'm gonna leave that one as a comparison. The Anaheim looks like it's starting to make a little bit of a Y, so I'm going to go ahead and top it. And I'm going to leave the leaves until I see some side sprouts or side shoots coming out of the nodes, and then I'll take the leaves off, just like the rest. I'm not going to prune this one. I'm going to let it go crazy for now. I will prune it later, and then I'll update you guys. This side of things, when you're doing a lot of peppers in tight spaces, this is going to be a useless leaf. So I'm just going to come down here and take it off. Anything that's going to be completely covered and underneath another plant is not really going to work. So you can kind of go around and look. Whatever's on top of another plant, you probably don't want to do. So guys, I will come back and I will update you on this in a week because I am going on vacation. So I'll see you guys later. Hey guys, welcome back to the main series. This is actually just part of the same video, and it's an update. This is exactly a week later, and we have results from the pruning. Remember how I said there was going to be a ton of leaves to come back? Well, there's even flower buds already. So in only a week, when you're actually established, these things happen quickly. I wanted to prune this one more because I wanted it to be taller so that the fruits don't hang down into the soil. I probably still will, honestly. It just is going to be a bigger setback because they've produced this Y already. When they make this Y shape, they are transferring all their energy into making peppers and buds. So yeah, you kind of get the point there. So my scheduled waterer, a family member was supposed to do some watering while I was gone, and here's the result of that. It got really hot a couple of days, and the AC went out, and a few things dried up. So what I was originally going to do, as soon as I got back, I was going to do a crossbreed. So this is a cayenne, and this is a ghost pepper over here. And there's open flowers, and what I was planning on is there's partially not open to flowers yet. And I was going to make the cayenne the parent plant of the ghost pepper, and I probably still will. And so I probably still will. The only thing is I have to wait until these perk back up and are doing well, and I can't have them lose the flower buds after I put in all the work to make the crossbreed. So you have to take the pollen from one, and then you got to open up and cut away so you have to cut away the petals on these. I think I just broke that, we'll see. You have to cut away the petals and the male portions and leave just the middle stamen or stigma, I forget what it's called. And then you rub that middle piece into the pollen. So the pepper that comes out of that will still look like the parent plant, but then the seeds from that will look like the appropriate plant, or the crossbreed. And so that's the plan there. From there, I'm going to be using the Aleppos to crossbreed with the F1 hybrid there. And then I'm just going to stabilize and choose selective not varieties, but phenotypes, tastes, everything like that, and then I will try to stabilize the breed after that. So it'll be a cross of 3 different types of peppers, and that is part of what the main series is going to be. So that's an update, and I will take you guys back to the video when everything's perked up and looking a lot better, and I will probably prune this one again. But then I am actually moving out of state, so it'll be a little bit before I completely finish this video. But hopefully I can come back to some pods. So I'm going to post this one so that you guys have a little bit of an update. And yet again, I won't be able to even edit it for another week because I'm moving, and my computer is up at my house that I just purchased up in Washington. And yeah, so if you like what you've seen so far, and if you're excited to see the results of this coming back and not dying, go ahead and give me the thumbs up and maybe leave a comment. Subscribe if you like it and want to see more. It'd be greatly appreciated. It really helps me out. So, well, that's it for this episode of Grow Like a Weed YouTube, and thank you for watching. Alrighty, everyone. So, welcome to another portion of Grow Like a Weed YouTube. This will be part of the main series. Everything seems to have recovered pretty well. One of the plants, it was back here. It was a ghost pepper. It had a big Y shape. Those are still droopy and kind of dead. So I'm babying that one back into health still. It's not in a tent right now. It's actually right next to the tent. However, everything perked back up. This was the really almost dead plant here. So as you can see, it's doing a lot better. This is another, and it was a cayenne that was over here. I kind of moved a couple things around because I pulled a couple things out of the tent. I decided to pull one probably permanently because it had kind of fallen over, and it'll make pods, but I don't really need it. I just need the flowers because the main series, like I said before, is going to be crossbreeds and just kind of like the general grow tent and what I like to do myself. Eventually I'll have a series where it's purely suggestions from you guys, but that's going to take some time because I need people to actually follow and comment and stuff like that. So what I'll show you here today is I've got some crossbreeds done up, and I did this like 2-3 days ago, so I think it took, because they would normally fall off by now. So that's a cayenne ghost pepper cross. I took the flowers from, or the pollen from this, and I didn't actually prune this very well, and it kind of just drooped over these other plants, and it produced a bunch of flowers. So I took some pollen and I cut open flowers that looked like this right here, the partially closed or not opened yet, and you cut away everything that is female and leave, or male I mean, and then you leave the female parts. From there you pollinate the middle portion with the pollen that you want. So I actually have 3 of these. So there's one here, there's another one right here. I had the full bag on it because I forgot to cut it beforehand, and then I figured it'd put too much pressure on it to cut it, and I might rip the flower off accidentally. I don't see the third one, actually. It's in there for sure. It might just be on the other side. Oh, yep, there it is. Right in there. So we've got the big full bag with it written on there, and then a small one right here. And whenever you're doing crossbreeds, you need to make sure you do several flowers, because it increases your chances greatly. Because I've done these where I've accidentally bumped the middle piece too hard, and what happens is the flower is damaged and can't take in that pollen, so it dies. One thing I'm noticing in general with my plants, so I'm kind of getting stuff like this, kind of that bumpy look, and I'm not exactly sure what it is. It's not bugs. I think it's just the plant's reaction to something. I really don't know what it is. If you guys know what it is, go ahead and let me know. I might be wrong, so you can always leave a comment and let me know. Another kind of cool update is this Kratky hydroponic pepper. In that week that I was gone, grew this whole sprout and then put this flower on. And the roots were not looking good when I had last looked at it. And I think, yeah, I don't have it broken loose, so I can't just pull it off by hand. So I'll show you guys in another video what the roots look like. Sometimes they die off when you do Kratky method, but you leave a little gap so you can have some air roots so that you don't suffocate your plant. So yeah, pretty soon we'll be having some pods, because we've got these flowers that are open, and I'm scared to touch them in case I got some other flowers on like a ghost pepper or something. If I end up moving that pollen around and it gets into the ghost pepper seed flowers, then I'll have an accidental crossbreed where I'm trying to do these ones on purpose that you saw on this plant, and then I'm actually trying to get purebred seeds. So because I'm trying to have fresh seeds instead of having to buy them every year, I can just keep them myself and then maybe share some if I have a bunch of extra. So yeah, that's kind of an update on everything. In case you don't remember what everything is, these over here, there's a small one right there that I trimmed majorly. It's coming back. These are jalapenos. So just some basic stuff. There's another one right here, but it's covered by this ghost pepper that I didn't prune properly. And then there's another, this is one of my favorite plants in here, and I've been pruning it and stressing it out to where I can just keep it growing, and I want to get it nice, and I want it to be a big plant with a big trunk, so that's the goal here. So I'm not specifically worried about getting pods right away. This is my long-term plant. This one will probably go outside in the spring. Then right behind it is another ghost pepper that I didn't prune after the first topping, and it is just covered with a bunch of leaves. And then this is a cayenne, and this is a cayenne. These are all cayennes except for this one is a Phileas blue, and well, it was supposed to be. The flowers are supposed to grow straight up and make little pods that point straight up, and the plants have a normal purple tinge to them. They might look variegated, so none of those things happened. That was the only seed out of the pack that I had left that germinated, and something's telling me that's not what it is, but I'm not sure. We'll see. We'll see the peppers. I'm just gonna let it do its thing, and it's putting on flowers right now, so we'll know soon exactly what it is. It could just be, some variant of it. I don't know if the Phileas blue is a hybrid or what, but maybe it just didn't have some stable genes. This is an Aleppo. And boy, I tried some of these about 2 days ago on my outside garden, and man, are they sweet when they're ripe. Holy cow. Like sweeter than the Sugar Rush peach. They are basically just like perfume. I do know that they are supposed to be a spice pepper. They're normally dried and then ground up into a fine powder. But wow, they are delicious though. I was really surprised because I tried one green and it was not. It kind of just reminded me of like a spicy bell pepper. They do have a little bit of bite to them, but not very much. Yeah, so that's those two. Those are both Aleppos. I thought I had a third one in here. I guess we'll find out when they grow, huh? Maybe that's this one, I don't know. That probably is, actually. This is a nice lesson to learn. Make sure you mark every single plant, because they end up looking really similar sometimes. I'm going to take this leaf off, it's bothering me. They look really similar sometimes, and that can cause an issue. Now, the ghost peppers always look different than the other ones, but if I had other super hots in here, like even a habanero, I mean, I have a small one in a 6-inch pot right here, and those leaves are really similar. So if I had a habanero in this grow tent with the same size pot and no markings on it, I wouldn't even be able to tell the difference till they got some fruits. So that's a nice lesson to learn. Learn from my mistakes, I guess. And you know, I've been told, you know, to mark all my stuff all the time, but I didn't do it, and then now here I am. I've got a Phileas Blue that I don't know what it is, or like if it is an actual Phileas Blue, and I've got Aleppos, and then I think this one is either an Aleppo or a Cayenne, so that's a lesson. The leaves do look more like a Cayenne on this, so that's why I'm curious about this. And I've said this before about I think this one's been over fertilized actually. I think they don't like nearly as much fertilizer, so you can always tell, your plants will tell you what's wrong, and you just have to have that knowledge, and that takes time and maybe chatting with people. So if you know what that is, maybe let me know and I'll try to fix it. It's kind of like this. This is actually an Anaheim, now that I remember, and I promised my fiance I would grow this out and get some fresh seeds so we could have a nice supply of Anaheims, because those are delicious for like Mexican food. I like to do, I forget the name of it right now, but there's like a Mexican dish that uses the poblano or an Anaheim. It's all about personal preference. Sorry, English is hard sometimes. One thing I thought was pretty cool about these heavily pruned plants, so I was looking, and man, do they have some nice big stems for being in a 1-gallon pot. It's like the size of a pencil. They're pretty cool. So that's a nice little update. I'm going to add this to the other video and just send it out as a whole video. So thank you for watching episode 2 of Grow Like a Weed YouTube on the main series, which is just all this in general, like I've said before. And if you like what you're seeing and want more updates, you know, like, comment, and subscribe. It really would help me out. It makes me feel good too. So thank you much, guys. Talk to you later.